it's the, first time that they've been this far since 1994. And, a lot's riding on this game. Do coaches and the front office, do you do anything mentally to prepare the players more so this week? Or do you just try to keep things as normal as possible?
Well, I'm not involved in that directly, so I'm not sure what the coaches are doing, but they've been around for a while, so they probably are doing some of the things that I would recommend. The first thing is that I would try very hard not to over-motivate. The game and the situation takes care of itself. As anything, you want to back them down a little bit. And very often coaches are anxious and nervous themselves, and they may be saying things like, you got to really dig deep. You got to play better than you've ever played before. All those kinds of things. Well, the players know that. They don't need to hear that. My advice would be, hey, you wouldn't be here if you weren't darn good. And so if you keep doing all those things that have got you here, you're going to play a good game. That would be my main thing, to not make it bigger. When I work one-on-one with athletes, the bigger the event, the more I tell them, you have to shrink it down to size yourself, okay? And concretely in football, that can be, imagine those white lines that define the borders of the field. That's where life exists. And it exists in the moment, not what's gone before, not what's going to happen again, but to be totally focused and play the game as best you can within those white lines. Let the rest of the world take care of it. So that'd be the one thing. The other thing I would say is, if you think about the challenge in any life situation, very often the challenge makes you nervous and anxious. We're playing a great team. They've got a good reputation, all those kinds of things. Instead of thinking about challenge, think about your resources to meet the challenge. We're good. We just won 2 really tough games against the Steelers. We're training hard. We're coming onto that field really well prepared. Those kind of thoughts are going to be much more beneficial than, oh man, we're playing a tough team.
You think about football and how physical the game is it just as mental of a task?
I don't think you can separate one from the other. You got to have both. You can have all the mental. I've got the mental, but I'm not going to play that game on Sunday, of course, right? You got to have all those ingredients to really be good. The strength and conditioning and nutrition and coaching and everything and experience. But you got to have the mental on top of that. Otherwise, you can't pull it together.
Did I see that, in reading on your website, did I see that it's not necessarily thinking about winning in the end? It's not always about winning? Yeah, good point. Everybody talks about winning, and winning is very motivating. That's perfectly okay, but it's not a good way of evaluating how well you did, because winning is not under your control. You don't get to choose your opponents. You have no control over how good they are when they step onto the field. The more you think about things that you can't control, the more you're taking attention away from the things you can control, okay? So yeah, it's good to try to win, and we want to be motivated, of course, but thinking about your skills and what you do well and repeating to do those good things is going to get you further than trying to win. Yeah, but what about fans? I don't think they want to hear that. I think in the end, it's all about winning. Absolutely, of course. But the paradox is you win when you're not thinking about winning. When you're thinking about each moment being the best you can be in that moment and being totally focused. There's no past and there's no future. There's only this moment as you're focused on those few things in executing a play or defending a play. That's where life exists. That's okay. Let the fans think about winning, and we want that, of course. I have to admit, though, hearing you say that, I think back to the 80s with the Browns and Bernie Kosar. I think about the 90s and the Indians. And although they didn't win it all, the ride that I experienced was unbelievable. So while I'm bummed out they didn't win it all, that ride is something to cherish, isn't it? Absolutely. It's in the moment. It's in the process. It really is. And that's a whole other topic, but focusing on the process, not the outcome. The outcome takes care of itself when you're focusing on the process. But we love seeing excellence, and those games, maybe they didn't win, but they sure played well, and there were some fantastic moments, as there tends to be in sport. Those are exciting.
Yeah.
I'm up for
Sometimes,
the win, though. Believe me, I'm not putting it down.
yeah. Sometimes I think too, the fans want it more than the players. I mean,
That's a whole other topic. Yeah, yeah, undoubtedly.
Let me ask you this about something I don't think fans think about. I had a former Cleveland Indian player tell me one time that fans don't think necessarily about what a player goes through in a given day. Sometimes we think of them as robots, that they just can go out there and compete like that, but we don't think about what maybe they went through that day. Maybe they had a fight with their, a loved one, or something negative happened to them. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the mental aspect for an athlete about what's going on in their life at that time that I don't think we think about before they go into that game.
Oh, absolutely true, really. And working with athletes individually like that, I do get to know the whole person. And just like the rest of us, they do have their ups and downs. They have, their partners. They've got, they're raising kids in many cases. They're also dealing with, contracts, the stress of a contract, and being, constantly measured, by scouts from other teams. And there's a lot of pressure being a professional athlete. We only see the final product, on the Sunday afternoon in football, but there's a lot going on. It's a very high pressure occupation for all of them in professional sports.
I saw that you have 9 mental skills. Is that correct? And
I do.
if so, is there one that maybe is most important?
What a great question. I think there are 2. One is motivation. Okay, and motivation has 2 components. One is the intensity. How motivated is a person to work hard? That's the fuel for everything. And the second part of motivation is, what are the rewards they want to get back from what they put in at every level in sport? Is it financial? Is it recognition? Is it trophies? Is it camaraderie with teammates? All of us can be motivated by different things. So without motivation, nothing else really counts. The other one, if I had to pick out, would be one's self-talk, okay, which is really thinking, because self-talk regulates emotions. It regulates almost everything else. One of the 9 mental skills is to being able to concentrate and pay attention. Well, your self-talk can bring you back. If you start drifting about thinking about the outcome of the game when you should be focusing on the play that's about to be run, your self-talk says, hey, pay attention. Come on, focus, focus, focus. Referee makes a call that's very upsetting. You're really angry at the call. Okay, your self-talk can put gasoline on the fire. And that is, what's wrong with him? The guy's an idiot. He's going to do that again. We're going to lose, etc. But now you're not paying attention to the next play. Or self-talk can put water on the fire. And that is, okay, I disagree with bad call, got to get focused on the next play. Calm down and focus. So I would say that's probably the most pivotal, because all the other mental skills can be regulated by self-talk.
So I wonder, could the other team doing a little trash talking help the Browns out?
Good question. I think trash talking is really overrated. Most of these guys, you let it go in one ear and out the other, and they kind of laugh at it. It's just like in basketball, the free throw. The fans trying to distract the shooter. The balloons, the yelling, the screaming. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. They're going to make the shot, or they're not going to make the shot. So I'm not worried about trash talk. Not at that level. Maybe when they're younger and just hearing it for the first time.
That's great.
One other comment on trash talk. If the other guy is trash talking, what does that mean? It means he's not paying attention to his job. So that's an advantage. Bring it on.
Last question. How should fans prepare for this game? That's the most important thing, right?
Wow, that's a good question. I guess to see what unfolds, be enthusiastic, savor every moment. This is really special. You're going to see some awesome football. You're going to see that offense and defense, and hopefully a good win for Cleveland too. But enjoy the process.
Absolutely.